Welcome to your Saturn Return Report. This is the Peace Dealer, here to interpret for you your report. In this report, we're going to look into the cataclysmic, apocalyptic event that will be known as your Saturn return. And yeah, this is actually not a joke. Saturn and Cap of this decade, Saturn and Aqua, Saturn in Pisces are post-apocalyptic Saturn returns. No, this doesn't mean that the world will be a nuclear wasteland. Possible, yes, but very unlikely. Thankfully, we're more useful alive to these dark forces than dead. But yeah, I just wanted to illustrate that your Saturn return is during the apocalypse, and that's fucking badass. It's also going to be easily the most difficult Saturn return that anyone has ever faced. So let's now take into context the last time Saturn was even in Aries or Aquarius or Capricorn. Last time Saturn was in Aquarius was 91. Last time Saturn was in Cap was 89. Last time Saturn was in Aries, I want to say was like 96. But the point I'm making here, we want Capricorn to be the start because Saturn is in dignity in Capricorn. So Saturn truly starts its cycle in Capricorn instead of Aries. And that's my speculation. But this is the only Saturn group out of that previous cycle that has Saturn square Pluto. I know in the 80s, Pluto was at the tail beginning, that's fucking hilarious. Pluto was at the beginning of Scorpio, and 81, 82, 83, and 84 marked Saturn's conjunction with Pluto in Libra and Scorpio. So we know that when Saturn was in Leo, Pluto was in Libra. So, like, you guys are the only ones that have to deal with this Saturn square Pluto, and that's not pretty. It's ugly, and I want you to think of the surmounting pressure. And if anyone watching this has Saturn and Aqua, y'all got the short end of the stick. Let me just be honest. Y'all got the short end of the stick. Y'all have easily the strongest Saturn return ever. So let me not say the short end of the stick because that makes it sound like you guys are fucked. But like, you guys got the short end of the stick. I'm just being real. Like you guys have the strongest Saturn return. So it's not all bad because this is going to make y'all the strongest. But just think of all the surmounting pressure that us as millennials have had to deal with the older generation. Your specific soul group is going to have to deal coming into the next 2 years with the full-on hatred or stigma that comes behind progressive rules and ideals that y'all champion versus that old narrative, especially with Pluto Leos, Pluto Cancers, or Pluto Virgos, that you're going to be breaking through from forever. The taboo element of Scorpio and the rigid element of Saturn and Aqua is what's going to have y'all more than us take your abilities and take this sense of, progressive futuristic energy and let your freak flag fly. That's really the vision I have. It's like you guys more than 90, because you guys more than the other soul groups are going to wave the middle finger to the older generation and be like, we're going to do what we want. And we don't need your criticism. And it's going to be a thing. It's going to be like a huge drama. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be extraordinary because this is going to represent that turning point from where you actually lead the narrative instead of being bogged down. And we know this is somewhat true because Saturn from this point will be breaking through that Pluto square forever since you were born. Okay, because when you were born, it went through the first time, but you were just born. So like you weren't really an adult. Now you're an adult. So this is taking that narrative and like basically telling that older generation to suck it. And this isn't disrespect to the older generation. Just that negative suppressing voice of the older generation that also suppressed way showers in their own generation. So the way that they're coming at you, they came at the same people in their own generation. It's just people in their generation didn't have it. They paved the way for us. And you're continuing that by saying, we're not going to let you stop us too. Okay. It's not necessarily that bad, but you want to see it as a pressure cooker that will have all of you address your parents, grandparents, in way. This is where for y'all Saturn return, lots of y'all are going to confront your parents about what you do and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. You either get with it or, okay. So keep that in mind, because for 90, for 89, okay, we have Saturn and Cap. That connects very well with Pluto and Scorpio. And so we're finding realistic ways to implement this Scorpio-Pluto wisdom into the system. And then Saturn in Pisces, late 93, 94, but I would say 94, 95, they trine Pisces. So, you know, the Saturn Cap, Saturn Pisces group, we have our difficulties, but it's not going, we actually blend very well with the way this Plutonian energy is transforming everything. It's the Saturn and Aqua soul group in between that's going to really get the short end of the stick here, in that, you know, a lot of the psychic stuff we're doing and a lot of the psychic stuff that Pisces doing is going to be widely accepted. We kind of brought in the narrative after Saturn and Sag kind of made it aware, all right, and showed people. And then Saturn Cap put methods to actually put this in motion. But Saturn and Aqua, you're the one they're going to pick on because you're going to take it to an extreme. Like Saturn and Capricorn is taking this narrative in ways that are still practical. Y'all, the reason why Saturn and Pisces is going to be able to do all this crazy, abstract, divine, metaphysical, you know, manifestation of their abilities is because of y'all. And y'all are going to take this to an extreme and be like, okay, now that Capricorn has put the foot in the door, let's just open this bitch open, kick this door down and be like, okay, this is all the freaky shit we're doing. You either like it or not. Now, is it freaky? I'm being extreme here, but it's eccentric, it's out of this world, and it's different. And that's clash. I just want to highlight how your Saturn return has everything to do with this Pluto square. Pluto, which now being in Capricorn, getting ready to go into Aqua by the end of Saturn Aqua. And then that's another thing. It's not a coincidence at all that the end of Saturn in Aquarius is going to be met with Pluto entering Aquarius. And the reason why this is important for Saturn Aquas is right after Saturn returns and returns the full power of your authority. A Saturn return cycle for the first return is where you incarnate from non-material existence through Saturn into material existence. You incarnate with the Saturn soul group, which now has similar karmic arrangements as you. And once you go around the first 29 years of your life, you grow into your power. You gain experience. You come into limitations and lessons. Boom. You establish your authority, which for you and your group is universal manipulation, the ability to manipulate cosmic influences and forces, which already makes y'all supernatural, and also channeling, and also authority of knowledge, authority of sociology. All of you are going to be authorities of aspects in our culture that's going to move our society forward by having relevant conversations about the Pluto square. You guys are going to move forward sexual education. You're going to expose. Now, we also have to keep in mind that Pluto in Scorpio is 10th house to Saturn Aquarius. It is your soul group that's going to expose the living shit out of the corruption in this world as it pertains to social faux pas, but not like in a Libra way, in a more quid pro quo way. Okay, the darker cabal sexual activity that happens in work and also in collective dynamics with other people. And you guys are also going to really now bring advanced rulership and literature when it comes to psychic ability, and when it comes to now taking the experience of the past 20, 30 years and what it means moving forward. So I'm not going to lie. As a Saturn and Cap, we had the greatest Saturn return of all time. Our Saturn return kicked off the fucking apocalypse. It doesn't get greater than that. But y'all Saturn return is not only more extraordinary, I think it's the most important. Because it's not only going to push forward what we've established, okay, but it's going to end a war and begin a new one. But it's going to end a narrative once and for all regarding the respect that us as millennials deserve, considering what we've contributed in the arena of psychic arts, science, health, medicine, entertainment, all that shit. Just to reference, once again, when I say that our Saturn return kicked off the apocalypse March 20th, when Mars went over your north node, so your destiny is aligned with this apocalyptic movement right now. Mars, which represents war, right, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Jupiter, at its fall, because it's an exaltation in Cancer, at its fall in material resources, Capricorn, Jupiter is supposed to represent abundance. So at its fall in Capricorn, it represents lack of resources, famine, all the coin shortages, all the meat shortages. It's going to get worse. Then we have pestilence with Pluto, okay? And then we have death with Saturn, because Saturn is the Grim Reaper. It's the scythe that reaps the crops. So all four of those conjuncted, the last time we had a quadruple conjunction like that was like in the 80s, all right, like 81. And so now this is in Capricorn, where the four horsemen see Jupiter in Libra wasn't famine, because Jupiter is in their fall Libra. Saturn's in exaltation in Libra. So, you know, in Capricorn, collectively around the world, that's the apocalypse, baby. Welcome, 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 welcome. I have to do a video about where you stand in the apocalypse, because for you, this all kicked off in your 6th, 7th house. So you're going to be experiencing this directly with other people. Welcome to The Walking Dead, where if you're not attacked by zombies or hive-minded individuals, you're literally just canceled for speaking your mind. So don't worry, it gets way worse. But it has to get worse before it gets better. This is what we incarnated for. We're effectively superheroes. Don't call me a hero, but you know, we're definitely stepping into this mantle accordingly. So this is very, very important. I just wanted to establish how your Saturn squaring Pluto is going to make this extremely intense. And it's going to force all of you in this soul group to own up to your fears regarding expressing the work and contribution to society you're meant to give, and to own that. We know that Saturn is authority. We know that Aquarius is collective knowledge. And so you are an authority of collective knowledge. Collective knowledge, it manifests itself in sociology. It manifests itself in the universe. So any type of science, especially astrophysics or astrology. And, you know, the higher the Saturn, the more infinite application that this plays out. We know that this is in the 8th, 7th house. So you apply this collective sense of knowledge and authority to dealing with other people, and thus carving out and paving the way to come into self-employment, because the 8th house is trust of other people's resources, Aquarius, other people's knowledge, in order to add to the vibrant courage of your self-esteem. But it doesn't have to be knowledge. It could also be secret information. This could establish a career where maybe you come into people's insurance information or knowledge of other people, or, you know, you're going to define this moving in here. So right off the bat, if we take the exhibit of coming into 2020, when Saturn first entered Aquarius, we know, you just saw right there, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Boom, it's happening, baby. It's happening, my friend. And when I said baby, I meant all you guys watching. It's happening, y'all. So yeah, when we see Saturn enter Aquarius with Mars, this is relevant to you guys, because if you have Saturn, the only exception is for those of you who have 0 degree Saturn in Aqua. You're one of us. If you're 0 degree Saturn Aqua, Saturn in Cap claims you. You're 30 degrees. You finished. Okay. Everyone else, 0 degree Saturn in Aqua started your Saturn return. And the end of y'all Saturn return is one of the most epic ends I've ever seen in my whole life. And yes, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm telling the truth. Like, y'all Saturn return is going to bring about the end of the world, and not in like the 2012 movie way, just in a societal collective way where nothing will continue to ever be the same. So this is how y'all started. And then Mars is in Aries now, and at some point Saturn went retrograde, all right, back. So now that Mars is getting ready to retrograde and Saturn's back in Capricorn, this represented the phase of your Saturn return, Jimmy, where Saturn initially went into your sign, and you want to see this as the beta test. If Saturn for you is your app, then Mars coming in there is you testing your app. And it's like, okay, if I'm going to be dealing with others like this, who is my client base? Like, who's going to be receptive to this? So everything happening right now is not only beta testing. Now that it's back in Capricorn, you've gotten a sneak peek of how you're going to be dealing with others with this power that's returning for you. And once this now goes direct again with Jupiter at the end of this year, as we will see evidence, when Mars finishes its retrograde and now begins to go forward with Jupiter and Saturn at the end of December, this is Alpha Overdrive. This is the second part of Guild Wars. This is going to actually bring us into the major civil war that has been brewing for a long time. And this is also going to fulfill and officially establish your Saturn return cycle. So it traveling with Jupiter is going to be evolving the extraordinary quality of who and how you connect with people moving forward, amongst also enabling you accordingly to now, with this 8th house chapter, deal with the boundary lessons that extend forth your 7th house chapter. So Saturn in the 8th house is very dangerous because this is all about trust. And it's even more dangerous for you as a Cancer sun because this is your 8th house. So during this period, the relationships that you've established with the 7th house chapter you're ending is going to seek to really define boundaries as these relationships you move forward with, especially a relationship with yourself, lends to you transforming your whole life. And this 8th house chapter is meant to transform, to prepare you for the 9th house chapter and 10th house chapter that you teach the world and lead the world. So this is going to really have you trust your intuition when it comes to the knowledge you gain from other people with this authority. Because if you trust the wrong person, it could either hold you back or, really kill you with this king comes to Cancer. And this is where you want to think more like a secret agent, a high priest who knows that you have psychic power that other people may be threatened by. And I'm not telling you to walk around paranoid, but your whole Saturn group needs to be careful, because this is where, the whole concept of sleeper cell agents, secret agents, people infiltrating your circle just to gain knowledge, 8th house secret knowledge from you. This is where your psychic abilities are going to be put to the test, because your psychic abilities are going to be firing off whether you can trust someone or not. You can't really be deceived because you have your 12th house Gemini moon. So the moment something is out of truth and out of integrity, your Capricorn fires, your Gemini fires. You can only be deceived, honestly, if you let other people outright deceive you. That's really the only way you can get got. And I don't mean that in a general way. I mean for you, you specifically. That's the only way you're getting got, bruh, is if you deliberately, don't listen to what your intuition was desperately wanting to yell at you for. And I don't think you have that issue. So I think this is going to be amazing, because the main lesson of 8th house Saturn returns is taking your motherfucking power back. In fact, that's just the Saturn return lesson. It's just more so in the 8th, because until you turned 29, in order to learn the 8th house lesson of boundaries, you may have given your power away inadvertently. You kind of have to, because through experience, this now teaches you what trust is and the knowledge of that, and gives you insight on what you feel your boundaries should be. Thank God you don't have 8th house Pisces, because Pisces doesn't have boundaries. So that's a a lesson for Leo risings, and really just Pisces. But this is gangster in Aquarius. This is gangster in Capricorn, and so us two have a mutual receptivity. 91 and 92 have mutual receptivity with 90 and a part of 89 because our nodes and our Saturns are switched. Like I have Saturn in Cap and you have North Node Aqua. Sorry, I have North Node Aqua, Saturn in Cap. You have North Node Cap, Saturn Aqua. So our destinies and our karma are intertwined. Like we're one of the 2 years that are literally here to help each other. And like we pass off the baton to each other in some interesting ways. So this is what is going to have you, now that you're of age, recognize in every relationship aspects where you've been disrespected, aspects where people have known what they're doing, because in Aquarius people know what they're doing. And so Saturn here serves as a bodyguard and a gangster or gentleman checker. The G is for gentleman, and it's to make sure you enforce this, not being not like this is like the energy of Cancer is nurturing. That's not to say Cancer can't be mean, but Cancer is inherently nurturing. Water nurtures. Aqua, no. Saturn and Cap and Aqua, it's like, bitch, get out my face. Okay, it's like you're disrespecting me. Why shouldn't I kill you right now? It's gangster, like, and it's square Pluto. So like you're not bringing that nurturing energy there. You're bringing that gangster energy there. Okay, because for the way you move, anyone who disrespects you or your boundaries, it's not like they did it on accident. And so that's why you need to maintain that energy. And I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. I know you already know that, but I just wanted to confirm that sense within you, that because the way that this could be so manipulative is in a sense where you're now the bad guy for respecting yourself, and you don't want to tolerate that. So as we move forward, okay, we do see that Jupiter is going to actually make it to Pisces. And we're going to have this new moon cycle in January, coming into February, but really January, the full moon. And the new moon in February is important enough to mention because, well, first of all, we're going to have the sun actually go over your Saturn February 3rd. Okay, let me take that back. February 5th. And thankfully, that's close enough to the new moon. I want to say, so yeah, the 5th for sure. Hello. The 5th for sure is when you're going to gain initial awareness of your Saturn energy while it's returning. As you can see, we got beautiful Venus on Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury retrograde. So you're in for a gangster ass new moon, bruh. Oh my gosh, the new moon 2021 is going to set everything off. Saturn, moon, Venus, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter, sun. That's gangster. That's crazy. And this is going to really not only establish the beginning cycle of this, but really set accordingly the attitude and level of awareness necessary to now not only shift this lesson, but to give you appropriate insight into who to trust and even how to trust them. And I hope this makes enough sense because moving forward from there, okay, as we're going to see, Jupiter will of course make it over your Saturn initially on the 5th, all right, around this new moon period. So that new moon period, oh, okay, no, on the 5th of March during Pisces season with Mercury going direct. So when Jupiter goes over Saturn, I've had experiences of people talk about they get like an extra bonus at work or they get like thousands of dollars. In my experience, oh no, that actually happened to me too. Like I didn't get like a shit ton of money, but around the time Jupiter went over my Saturn, I did notice an increase in income that has stayed consistent. So you want to keep that in mind too. Jupiter's gonna get ready to bless this as Saturn comes over, and then boom, nah, Saturn's gonna retrograde before it hits your Saturn. I'm sure of it. So we move forward. Um, Pluto's retrograde. Jupiter is going to actually make it to Pisces, which is wild. But Saturn's going to retrograde 13 degrees. And so this first retrograde of Saturn 13 degrees in Gemini season is helping to reevaluate the level of trust in yourself in dealing with others, because this is now in the stage of your adulthood where you've mastered the first 6 houses of your chart. When Saturn and Jupiter go through the first 6 houses of your chart, Jupiter has evolved your identity, your self-esteem, your skills, your soul, your talent, your lifestyle, and your relationships. So this next half is about trusting the confidence, second house, you bring to other people, so that this can now affect philosophy, to affect the world, to affect your collective, to close out and start everything all over again. And so congratulations, you cleared a lot. This next part is bringing you out into becoming more of a public figure. And this is where it's not about being extroverted as much as it is the knowledge of dealing with others, especially now utilizing your awakened psychic abilities. Because if we take into account Pluto that's gone over your Neptune and Uranus, this is awakened at a quality that now all this cap energy is gone, you can actually experience, especially moving into next year. So we know that Saturn and Venus and Mars are going to oppose in Leo 2021, which is a very big deal, because this opposition between these energies are going to meet together next year, beginning of next year. So this opposition is also important because you're going to be rounding up the level of self-esteem and confidence as a test to how well you can bring this talent to other people to garner trust. This T square with Uranus here, that's also going to be in the 11th house, will innovate the friends and collectives you'll be dealing with, so that this narrative could be dealt with accordingly. Boom. So Saturn will eventually go direct again. Now, by November 2021, Jupiter is ready to go into Pisces. And so as we move forward, Jupiter enters Pisces legitimately December. And this is where now in the beginning of 2022, we're in Aquarius season again. And bam, Venus and Mars are now effectively coming into March conjunct Aquarius. And we'll have the official return of Saturn for you, okay, February. This is going to mark per degree the actual, conclusion. The way I like to see this is the point in your Saturn return where you complete the test. All right. Now, the test isn't completed until every student finishes. So you might leave the test hall unless it's a test where you can't leave until everyone's done. And so your return lesson doesn't end until the end of Saturn and Aqua. So even though you will return even after Saturn and Aqua, I just want to kind of keep that in mind. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. This is just deciding to take its goddamn time. This is annoying. But now the opposition that was here in 2021 is complete. And this represents the first time Mars conjuncts Saturn again since they conjuncted 0 degrees, all right, 2020. And so this is the return of the parable with the talents. By this period, you have completed the lesson of confidence needed to deal with others. And so you're closing out the transit, okay, polishing this up and taking this further. Now, the retrograde that we're going to have again, all right, I want to make sure this doesn't retrograde back over your Saturn. It looks like it's going to retrograde 18 degrees, which is genius. It makes it just right back at the end. So you can rest assured that once this is completed, it's definitely completed proper. It stations right after this. And this is what's going to have us, of course, close this transit out accordingly. Coming into March, which I want you to look at, because as you can see, we have the end of the world here. So it's like the universe is like, all right, guys, are you ready? Before Pluto comes and fucks up Aquarius, we want to clear Aquarius. So let's make sure, watch this, watch this. So I want you to see how the sun in Pisces is not only going to finish its cycle, it's highly significant that the sun in Pisces finishes its cycle first. So Saturn has made it 30 degrees aqua. Watch this, watch this. I flipped the shit when I saw this. So bam, the sun's in Pisces. We're finishing the cycle in Pisces. The moon and lunar is literally finishing the cycle in Pisces. And right when we have this final new moon, okay, and we step into the 21st, and we step into Aries season, bam. So we officially start the cycle in Aries. We officially start Saturn in Pisces, and then boom, beginning of the end. Pluto enters Aqua. Woo! Woo! That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it's also proof that, this is apocalypse. So that's very important, because this shows us that your Saturn return cycle and group is going to help facilitate and contribute to the end of the system as we know it. Okay? This doesn't have to look like a bad apocalypse thing. This could actually be a great thing. This could be an advancement in our society, but nothing is ever going to be the same. So I just wanted to make sure we shared that. We saw that. This is going to conclude your Saturn return. Now, the Vedics believe that in your case, Saturn return would be Saturn in Cap, Saturn in Aqua, and then you manifested Saturn in Pisces. So this is just more so the Saturn Aqua lesson of your Saturn return. I hope you enjoyed this report. Please looking forward for feedback. And during it, please don't hesitate to email me and ask me questions if you need more understanding. Y'all Saturn return is the most important Saturn return. It's going to lead directly to the beginning of the end. I just want to highlight the significance. There is no coincidence that we're ending a cycle and then Saturn's going to the next sign and then Pluto's coming in. This is sequence at such a genius and orchestrated level. It proves that the planet dance. Like there's a language being spoken here, and I hope you saw that, because by the end of your Saturn return, you're going to decipher that, and it's up to you guys to tell the rest of us what we need to know. Aquarius, y'all stay blessed as always. Always a pleasure to serve, and it's during a period like this, once all this energy moves into your 8th, 9th, that the rigorous, perilous work in your 8th you did will come to the light of divinity, anchoring and harnessing deeper metaphysical understanding so that we can move forward as a collective and break through all this deception. And until next time, peace.